I don't know about you, but this season it feels like we are absolutely flying through the races, and this weekend we'll see round 5 happen in Saudi Arabia. The opening 4 races have seen McLaren dominate really. They've won 3 of them, had 7 podiums altogether, and at the moment they lead the Constructors' Championship by 58 points. Lando Norris is leading his teammate Oscar Piastri at the top of the drivers' standings by 3 points, and at the moment at least, it looks like the only competition they're going to have is each other. When it comes to Drivers' Championship battles between teammates, there have been some seriously feisty ones in recent years. 2016 saw Hamilton and Rosberg duel it out. There was Vettel versus Webber in 2010, and that led to the terrible relationship they had for the rest of the time they were teammates. And then there was also the Hamilton versus Alonso season in 2007, which was absolutely incredible, even though neither of them actually won the Drivers' Championship in the end. So don't be too disappointed that, at the moment at least, it looks like a straight fight between Piastri and Norris for the Drivers' Championship, because that could turn the McLaren team into an absolute battleground. And McLaren know it. Today, I'm going to check out the evolving battle that's happening at McLaren, what it means for their upgrade plans, and how the team are going to manage their drivers going forward. So, don't go anywhere. It has been a challenging season for Lando Norris so far this year. Of course, he is leading the Drivers' Championship, which at face value would make you say, what you on about, how is that troubling? But there have been signs of trouble. Like Alonso in 2007, Lando Norris is an experienced driver whose team have now created a competitive car, and to some degree he's expected to win the Drivers' Championship, and he's probably expecting that himself a little bit as well. However, he has a less experienced teammate who has come in and, this year at least, is looking incredibly strong. Now obviously in that 2007 season, Hamilton was a complete rookie when he did what he did to Alonso, and Piastri, on the other hand, has 2 full seasons of F1 under his belt, but you can see the similarities there. Alonso thought 2007 was going to be his year, and having Hamilton come in and contest him knocked him off his stride. Before the season began, Norris was touted as the out-and-out favourite for the Drivers' Championship, but Piastri has turned up this season, found another level of performance, and it looks like it might have just knocked Lando out of his stride. Norris said last weekend that he felt clueless and like I'd never driven a Formula 1 car before after he qualified 6th for the Bahrain Grand Prix. The Britain's teammate, Oscar Piastri, took pole position, while Norris was 0.426 seconds slower than the Australian. Norris said, "No big complaints, the car's amazing. The car's as good as it has been all season, which is strong. Just, I've been off it all weekend. I don't know why, just clueless on track at the minute. I don't know, I just need a big reset, that's all." There's no point in beating around the bush here. We all know that Norris is a strong driver. He's probably one of the best in the sport at the moment, but at the moment, his teammate looks to be the more in form of the two. Now, the McLaren team principal Andrea Stella has said that Norris has suffered from a weakness that has been afflicting him since the start of the season, in that he's struggling to extrapolate the best from the car in qualifying because of certain handling characteristics it has. He also said that McLaren would try to make changes to try and adapt the car to him more. Now, speaking after Bahrain, Stella said, "Lando is a very fast driver, a naturally fast driver with an incredible racecraft. It's more a phase, I think, when it comes to Q3, putting together the lap, that hasn't worked very well recently, but this is a short phase. He is just now in this temporary phase in which, while pushing the car to the limit, there's a few things that don't go exactly as he expects, and when you go for the extra 0.1 seconds in Q3, this becomes more visible. We understand what it is. It will just require a bit of adaptation from Lando himself and some adaptations from the team. But I think the understanding is good, and we are very optimistic that this will be resolved." So Lando has some improvements to make in qualifying, which is something we could probably have all said without Andrea Stella telling us that. But the interesting bit is that he's struggling with whatever this mysterious handling characteristic of the car is. But while Lando's struggling, Oscar is flourishing. While Andrea Stella pointed out Lando's shortcomings last week, he showered praise on Piastri. Oscar drove a perfect race. If anything, I would say a perfect weekend. Apart from that mistake in Australia, Oscar has absolutely matched up to Lando this season. Actually, I'd probably go as far as saying that he's been more than a match for Lando Norris. He's won the qualifying head-to-head 3-2, with an average advantage of 0.185 seconds over Lando. In Australia, both McLaren drivers went off at the exact same corner on the exact same lap, but by luck of the dice, it was Lando who managed to get some traction when he rejoined the track, while Oscar didn't, but it could just as easily have been the other way round. Now, if you remove that Grand Prix from the point scoring so far, then Oscar has outscored Lando 72 points to 52. Obviously, you can't just ignore things that have happened, that's not how the world works. But when you look behind the headline numbers that are the Drivers' Championship, Oscar appears to have been the stronger driver so far this season. And McLaren aren't blind to what is happening. They know that a battle is coming. They know they have two top-tier drivers. And they know they've produced the best car on the grid to start the season with. At some point, the papaya rules, or whatever agreements they have about who leads at the first pit stop, or any other strange team order shenanigans that seem to be going on at McLaren, well, at some point, they're going to get thrown out the window. Twice this season, McLaren have asked Oscar to hold position behind Norris. Once was in Australia, when the track conditions were treacherous and any mistake could have ended both their races. Once was in China, when Norris couldn't get within 1 second of Verstappen, and Oscar thought that he could do better. Now in Australia, Oscar was just told to take the pressure off Norris until the track tried, and in China, Oscar was told that Norris was saving tyres for a late attack. But at some point this season, Oscar, or Lando, whichever one it is, are going to decide that they need to go against the rules for their own Drivers' Championship aspirations, and McLaren are preparing for that epic battle to begin. Zak Brown said, "They race hard. I'm sure we're going to have some excitement over the year. But you know, they race very cleanly, and they're free to race, as we've discussed. I think we've yet to see that epic battle between the two. I just think it's a matter of time." History tells us that when two teammates start to really battle, it tends to get messy. Alonso quit McLaren at the end of 2007. Vettel and Webber had Turkey 2010, and Hamilton and Rosberg had lap 1 in Spain. What is it that Piastri and Norris are going to come up with? So now the question is, are McLaren going to favour one driver over the other, or are they just going to let the two of them battle all season long? Zak has said that the two are free to fight, but even if they don't favour one on track, they can favour one off track. That quote I used from Andrea Stella earlier said that the team will make some adaptations in the favour of Lando, and that could be taken to mean that they have upgrades coming which might shift the car's driving characteristics in Lando's favour. He did also say that Lando's going to have to adapt how he's doing things himself to the car, so McLaren aren't going all out to build Lando Norris's dream machine. While that doesn't sound like a big deal, it is actually going to be a change from how things have happened at McLaren previously. Now in his 7th season with the team, Lando has made McLaren his own and has been the centre of everything that the team has been doing, including how they've developed the car in recent seasons. Lando's also been receiving upgrades earlier than Oscar has when they had been available. However, Oscar's rise to compete with Lando is changing that. When questioned about whether the trend of Lando being favoured with upgrades would continue, Andrea Stella disclosed that McLaren had yet to decide on how it was going to handle the intra-team battle. "We'll have to see," Stella said. "We'll have to see, first of all, what is actually the upgrade. Because if the upgrade is a front wing, a rear wing, you don't have to necessarily split cars because it's less of an involved change. The reason why we were going one car at a time in the past is because it was a big change, which had involved even changes of the mechanical side, the systems under the bodywork. That answer implies that there may be upgrades this season that can only go on one car at a time, and instead of them instantly going to Lando like has happened in the past, it might depend on the current situation in the championship. That is a massive change in how the team handle things, and it's a reflection of the growing power that Piastri has at McLaren." Stella did also go on to say that any upgrades which are coming are still a few races away, so we're probably going to have to wait until the European leg to see how this starts to play out. But how do you think it's going to go? Is Piastri going to get the better of Norris? Are McLaren going to get involved in the battle between the two of them? Or is this intra-team battle just a ticking time bomb? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.